So the establishment is pretending to be all offended by a banal comment that Bernie Sanders made. He was asked what he thinks of Joe Biden endorsing Tom Perez for DNC chair, and he said that he's against the, quote, failed status quo approach. Now, for those of you who don't understand the breakdown that's going on here, there's a race for DNC head, and President Obama and VP Biden are supporting Tom Perez. So this guy is viewed as the establishment wing of the party's representative. Now, on the flip side, you have Bernie Sanders, who's supporting Keith Ellison. And Keith Ellison is viewed as the representative, or I should say a better representative, of the progressive wing of the party. Now, that's not to say that Keith Ellison is superb. In fact, there are many Bernie supporters who, barely support Ellison. They say, okay, look, he's better than all the alternatives, but let's not pretend he's great because, for example, Keith Ellison supported intervention in Libya, and he's not the real kind of true progressive that many people in the Bernie wing would want. But again, better than the alternatives by far. So because Bernie dared to call Tom Perez and Joe Biden endorsing him, oh, well, this is part of the failed status quo approach, now a bunch of Democrats have clutched their pearls and they're ripping him. So Gilberto Hinojosa, one of the DNC members who actually will be able to vote in this and says he's going to vote for Perez, he said, quote, "It is very concerning that Bernie Sanders is so intent on taking over a party that he's not even a member of, that he'd insult the beloved vice president and really the president about a failed status quo approach. This is coming from a man who is not even a member of our party. We lost an election and all of a sudden we're all part of a failed status quo. When he puts Joe Biden and Tom Perez in this category and paints with a broad brush, he insults all of us. This is an election between loyal, qualified Democrats who love our party and the country. There's no need for him to lower himself to that level." Dude, pump your brakes. Relax. Breathe. So, first of all, let's just get the fact out there that he's not even a member of our party is the dumbest, most hacky attack against Bernie Sanders, and a lot of people make that argument. Well, he's not even a Democrat, so, why should he be involved in saying, the direction that we should go? Because he actually caucuses with the Democrats, and obviously he believes the Democratic Party is less corrupt and not as bad as the Republican Party, but the Democratic Party is still neoliberal and way too centrist and way too corrupt and way too hawkish. So I don't know, maybe he's trying to reform the party so that they can win and beat the Republicans, which isn't what you guys want. Isn't that what you want? So all this outrage over he's not even a member of the party. But his ideas, his philosophy represents what the Democratic Party should have been all along. And it represents what would make them win if they actually believed in it and fought for it. But they just can't get rid of neoliberalism. To them, it's like they're heroin addicts and neoliberalism is the heroin. Oh no, we got to move further and closer to Wall Street. And we got to get closer to the Republicans. And then we'll totally win if we're Republican light. How many years have you tried that? And how many years have you gotten your ass handed to you on a silver platter? So you are wrong about what would make the party good. He is right. I was going to say what would make the party great again. But then they'd smear me as being a closet Trump supporter or some garbage, and they'd go cackling hyenas into their little dense bubble and go, we've got everything figured out, and we're going to keep running Hillary-like candidates and keep losing while we pretend like we're morally superior and pretend like we have all the answers. So, that's the first thing, is that argument is just a childish hack argument. And then he also goes on to say, well, how dare you put Biden and Perez in the category of the failed status quo approach? Let's see here. Perez, wasn't he the labor secretary? Biden was the VP. Obama was the president. And then after them, we got Donald Trump. By definition, they failed. It's not an opinion. It's okay, so if they were so great and they did such a wonderful job and they pleased so many people across the country, obviously the candidate that Obama campaigned really hard for won, right? Wrong. She didn't. She won the popular vote, but they knew the rules going into it, and they knew it wasn't popular vote. She knew which state she had to hold, and she didn't. She didn't go to Wisconsin. She didn't step foot in Wisconsin. She didn't campaign in the right states. She couldn't get working class support because guess what? All the people in the depressed factory towns said, I don't believe Hillary when she pretends to be anti-TPP. She supported NAFTA. She supported all these other trade deals. She represents the establishment, and the establishment has been screwing me. So for Bernie to say it's a failed status quo approach, that is factual. If it wasn't failed, well, guess what? They would still be in power because people would have said, oh, they were doing a great job for me. And then furthermore, again, under Obama, half the country makes $30,000 a year or less. That's not success. Now, I get it. It's better than George W. Bush. Under George W. Bush, we were hemorrhaging 800,000 jobs a month by the end of his time in office. Now, under Obama, we've grown by over 12 million private sector jobs since he's been in office. But the facts are the facts, and those jobs are mostly service sector, low-paying jobs. There were higher-paying jobs that were replaced with lower-paying jobs. So forgive the American people if they're not falling all over themselves to thank Obama and Biden. Now, that's not to say they didn't do anything good. Of course they did some things that were great, and I've given them credit when they do things that I think are great. But you can't say that they're not a failed status quo approach. They were in power. They were in power for 8 years, and they campaigned for Hillary, and you guys got fucking obliterated. Republicans now hold a majority of state legislatures. They hold a majority of governorships. They hold the House of Representatives. They hold the Senate, and they hold the presidency. So it might hurt your feelings. You might get all in your feels when you hear, oh, it's a failed status quo approach, but it is true. And then the idea like, oh, Bernie doesn't need to lower himself to that level. Lower himself to what level? The factual level, stating facts? You're the one who's lowering yourself because you lash out against him for stating something obvious. You're saying, oh, yeah, but you're not even part of our party. Sorry, next time he has something true to say, we'll give you a trigger warning. You need a safe space? So another DNC operative weighed in and said, the DNC forums and these campaigns for chair have been all about unity, unity, unity. And Bernie put out a different message. He's opening these old wounds, and it looks to me also like his ego is at play. Okay, all of that is true of you. All that is true of the corporate Democrats. This entire quote. He's opening the old wounds. No, the establishment Democrats are, because you got your ass handed to you and you still somehow think you're a viable part of the discussion. You're not. You see Mitt Romney scrambling to get into a leadership position of the Republican Party and tell them what direction they should go? No, because he got destroyed. So why should we allow in Hillary Clinton and the people who just got wiped out, who were the only people in the country who couldn't beat Donald grab him by the pussy Trump, and now we're going to listen to you as if you have a viable opinion? So that's true of you. You're opening old wounds by insisting we should take you seriously when you just got destroyed, and your ego is at play. Their ego is at play, the corporate Democrats. You got wiped out, and your egos are so large, and you're so propped up by Wall Street money and corporate money that you're like, okay, you guys will still listen to me, right? No, we're not going to fucking listen to you. It's been proven your approach is wrong. And then finally, when they say unity, unity, unity. No, but see, we're only going to unify with people who have a message that is a real progressive message, a real liberal message, is a message that actually is going to fight for the American people and push for the things that they want, and a message that is totally divorced from any corporate and Wall Street money. That's what they don't get. They're like, no, we want to have such a big tent party that our party includes Republican light. But I don't want them in our party. The Democrats don't want them in the party. The base doesn't want them in the party. Regular people don't want them in the party. You're the only one who wants them in the party. You want a big tent party so big that Goldman Sachs is at the head of it. Well, and then you wonder why you keep losing. That's why you keep losing. So for fuck's sake, man, get your head out of your ass. See, this is the trick. They have terrible ideas. They're corrupt. They get wiped out. And then when you say in the most logical way possible, hey, you guys are not good at this. It's just been proven that you failed. So you need to step aside. They play the victim. They're like, oh, I'm offended and I'm such a victim for you accurately pointing out that I just got my fucking clock cleaned. So now unity, under the banner of unity, they want to come into the party and continue to steer it in the wrong direction. Again, and notice that when they scream about unity, they're not talking about unity under a banner of true progressive and liberal ideas. Unity under a banner of taking no corporate money. Unity under a banner of single-payer health care and universal college and minimum wage that's a living wage and tied to inflation. Unity under a banner of no more unnecessary wars. We should only use our military for self-defense. They don't want to unify under that banner. They only want to unify under a banner of let's keep doing what we were doing and keep serving our corporate donors and keep pushing the party in a neoliberal direction. Well, you could take that kind of unity and shove it up your ass because we're not interested in that. And as a final point, the answer is justicedemocrats.com. Go to justicedemocrats.com. This is the movement. This is the movement where we run Democrats. We run you. We're going to run you. And you take no corporate money, no big donor money, and so you represent the people, and then you get in there and you fight for all the right things. You fight for Bernie Sanders' vision of the future in America. So this is the answer, and they need to understand their offended brigade. I'm offended, you point out facts. Their victimhood narrative of like, oh, come on, why are you unfairly scapegoating me as being wrong about everything when it's been proven I was wrong about everything in the last election? All that's going to go away because we don't take any of that bullshit. We don't play that game. We're just going to get all these losers and these corporatists out of the party, and we are uncompromising in that. Do you understand that? This is a hostile takeover of the party. So all this pearl clutching and, oh my God, Bernie Sanders said something true, how dare he? This all ends when Justice Democrats take over.